The Caribbean Diaspora Weekly South Florida edition is presented by Caribcast, live Caribbean TV anywhere, and by Jamaicans.com. Brought to you in part by Golson Spine Chiropractic and Physical Therapy, with locations in Pembroke Pines, Plantation, and North Lauderdale. Call 866-GOLDSON. It's gonna be a beautiful day. Hi, I'm Calibe Thompson, and this is the Caribbean Diaspora Weekly South Florida edition, opening a window into our Caribbean American world. On today's show, Glenn Black is out and about at the 2014 International Reggae and World Music Awards. Chef Irie is cooking Caribbean with a Latin-inspired twist on jerk shrimp, and an interview with 4 high-profile Caribbean entertainers on the perceived hijacking of reggae. Let's get started with Glenn Black.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with a whole lot of letters, aka the International Reggae and World Music Awards.
Indeed, it's a great pleasure having you here tonight as we celebrate our 33rd International Music Awards.
This is Mr. and Mrs. Kevin Little. What does this award show mean to you?
It's all about bringing our people together and celebrating the ones that are doing great things for our culture. So, you know, it means a lot to me, and I'm very happy to be one of the co-hosts tonight.
I am lucky enough to be standing here with the lovely, the beautiful, the talented, the incredibly voiced Itana. How are you doing tonight, ma'am?
I'm great.
What is the craziest thing that a fan has done when they've seen you for the first time?
Come up to me and say, "Did you know I've been waiting for you for years? You are my wife and you are not leaving here."
That's not a fan, that's a stalker. That's what we call him. If there's anything that you can tell young ladies who are coming into the business or are looking at coming into the reggae business, what would be your advice to them?
Wow. Don't do anything demeaning or belittling to get to where you need to get to. Just do the damn thing like you know it's supposed to be done.
In a nutshell, Itana says, sing your song and keep your clothes on.
Exactly. Good together.
I am here with the legend, Mr. Winfred Williams.
I like the term legend, but I'm still working towards it. We wanted to get behind the music and to find out more about the artist and to hear their views on politics, on law enforcement, on crime and violence, their views on the world, how they see the world.
Now, I heard that there were some detractors when you first won the crown, but I can see that you're still smiling and standing tall.
Absolutely, you have to focus on the positivity, you don't dwell in negativity.
So one quick question, how many people have run up to you and started singing, "You're my Miss Jamaica"?
Well, including you, that will make 1.
I'm here with Kenny of the famed Haitian group Zenglen. Is this your first time being nominated?
This is my first time. In 2012, 2013, and 2014 was a really very good year for Zenglen.
You seem to be a very young gentleman for such an astute job and title.
It's not about the age, it's about how much work you get done.
That's true, that's true. And you know what? I grew up with a lot of Haitian friends, and I know for a fact that your parents still want more out of you, isn't it?
Oh, definitely, definitely.
Do they still go and say, "Why that's not anything"?
Of course.
I am here with a legend, the beautiful Miss Calypso Rose. How does it feel seeing how big soca is now becoming all over the world?
It makes me very proud to know that our music have extended worldwide right now. Who have thought that Calypso would have been all in Japan, China, Czechoslovakia, and all these places? I just came back from Scotland. The white folks are dancing and jumping to Calypso. They've been jumping, and I will keep them jumping. They could never sit down when they hear the name Calypso Rose, fire in my wire.
And I know that you're being honored tonight, correct?
Yes, I'm being nominated in 3 different categories.
Awesome, 3 different categories.
Yes.
Do you know they didn't nominate me for anything?
What? No, I gotta speak to Mr. Martin.
Hands down, Caribbean food tastes better than everything else. Trust me, it's a fact. Salt is the one ingredient that most of us can't live without. Here are a few tricks to stretch your salt use beyond the kitchen. In home and garden, sprinkle salt in your canvas shoes to help soak up moisture and remove unwanted odors. When using candles, to help prevent dripping, dip the newly bought candle in a solution of concentrated salt water. To repair wall chips or nail holes, mix 2 tablespoons of salt with 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. Then add enough water to make it a thick paste. Use this paste to fill the holes. Have an ant problem? Sprinkle a little salt around your doorway, windowsill, or anywhere that ants are prone to sneak in. Ants hate walking on salt. If pesky weeds or grasses are ruining your beautiful patio, sprinkling salt in the area will help get rid of any unwanted grass and prevent new patches from growing out. In health and beauty, for more glowing and vibrant skin, mix a bit of salt with a bit of olive oil and massage onto skin. Leave it on for a few minutes, then rinse off. To help relieve sore throat, mix salt and warm water, then gargle. If you're suffering from swollen feet or ankles, submerge your feet in warm water and salt. This will help relieve pain and swelling. Run out of toothpaste? Use equal parts salt and baking soda. Then dip your wet toothbrush in the mixture and brush away. It actually helps eliminate odors, cleans, and whitens.
When we come back, Cooking Caribbean with Chef Irie.
When you're looking for authentic Caribbean flavor, the place to go is Donna's Caribbean Restaurant. The food is good and the service is great. Take out, dine in, or catch us on the go. Try our all-you-can-eat buffet every Saturday and Sunday in Lauderhill and Pembroke Pines. And with 6 locations to serve you, there's a Donna's near you. Visit donnascaribbean.com or call 1-877-55-DONNA.
I'm Grandma Cherry, and welcome to Donna's Restaurant.
Victoria Mutual Building Society, building your financial independence in Jamaica. For information, call 305-770-2622.
Hi, I'm Chef Irie and welcome to my kitchen. And today we're going to be doing a shrimp dish and we're going to be featuring jerk seasoning. Our pans are getting nice and hot. First, I want to put the oil in. And I want to season up the shrimp. So we're gonna add some oil, a little salt.
Of course, we gotta use the authentic Grace Jamaican jerk seasoning. Today we're using Grace dry seasoning.
And I just wanna get that coated all over. Add our shrimp one by one. Now you don't want to just throw them all in the pan at the same time, because that would just sort of cool the pan down very rapidly. While this is cooking, we're gonna add some oil to this. Flip these. They cook very quickly. As soon as they start to turn bright pink, bright orange, then you know they're going to be done. So as that's going, we're going to come back over here, add ginger, garlic, onions, stir this up, add pineapple, mango, tomato. I'm going to take this shrimp out of the pan.
To maximize the flavor of the shrimp, I'm going to transfer the mango salsa into the pan that the shrimp was in.
Cumin seeds, some heat, a little jalapeno, a little orange juice, a little lemon juice. So juice a half of 1 lemon, squeeze right in your hands. Gonna add some butter here. I just want this just to smooth the sauce out just a little bit. So I'm just gonna let this melt, and as soon as the butter melts, I'm gonna turn the heat off. Just before we do that, we're gonna add a little cilantro and a little green onion. Right there to the pan. We got some green onions. The butter is melted, and guess what? I'm gonna turn this off. And we're gonna plate this up. Just like that, you have a nice appetizing dish. Jerk shrimp with cooked mango pineapple salsa. So come back again. We're gonna be doing cool, simple dishes, and we're just gonna knock them out. And as usual, it's food on fire.
Martin Luther King Jr. Elementary School in Lauderhill, Florida, had been failing for years, according to Florida's education standards. It's located in a Caribbean community, and many of the students qualify for free lunch. In 2014, MLK Jr. started the school year teaching students using the Montessori method rather than the traditional approach. Montessori, which started in Italy, is a proven hands-on method of instructing. For example, In the Montessori method, children learn at their own pace in multi-age classrooms. They can move about the classroom freely. There are work tables rather than desks. And instead of having schoolwork corrected by a teacher, children spot their own errors through feedback. MLK Junior Principal Cheryl Proctor said it's not that the students can't learn, but what was being done wasn't reaching them. The Montessori method is something different. To learn more about this story, go to the South Florida Times website, sfltimes.com.
How to speak Caribbean. The English language. It actually originated with the English. You know, in England. Those of us in other regions, from America to Canada to the Caribbean, have all created our own unique versions and dialects. Here's a quick rundown of some of the words in English, Jamaican, and Trinidadian you probably didn't know all meant the same thing. When addressing a group, someone from the US might say,
you all.
A Jamaican would say,
uno,
and a Trinidadian would say, all you. You know that drink you call
moonshine?
Jamaicans call it
Jonkrobati,
and Trinis say
babash.
In the US, all that noise is a
commotion.
It's a
bangarang
in Jamaica and a
BACCHANAL
in Trinidad. Where there's noise, there's probably
a party.
For Jamaicans, it's
a dance.
For the Trinis, it's
a fete.
You may send a love letter to your
darling.
A Jamaican would be sending it to his or her
bunununus,
and a Trini would address his or her
doo-doo.
Relationship not going so well. While you might
cheat,
a Jamaican would
bon,
and a Trini would
han.
For an extended lesson on how to speak Caribbean, visit the CaribbeanDiaspora.tv. Coming up, thoughts from 4 high-profile Caribbean entertainers on the hijacking and adulteration of our music. Then, in the diaspora perspective, an opinion piece on the crab-in-a-barrel syndrome that often helps to hold us back. Let's say you're from the Caribbean and you've moved to France or China or some other place far, far away. But you want to watch TV from your own country in your new living room. Well, now you can. Visit caribcast.tv or download the Caribcast app on your Roku or mobile device. It's that easy. Live Caribbean TV anywhere in the world. Visit caribcast.tv to learn more and make sure to tell a friend. SFLCaribbusiness.com and SouthFloridaCaribbean.com, the online magazine and directory promoting South Florida's Caribbean businesses.
You got to be a mover and a shaker in this game because we are the underdogs no matter what.
We have other influence not just on the Caribbean but on a global scale.
Reggae is revolution, is rebel, legalization of marijuana, is the vision of a Christ that is not the Christ from the Catholic Church, is a Christ from Africa.
Around the world, depending on who you ask, reggae music can conjure images of white sandy beaches, skillfully gyrating dancers, or dreadlocks and clouds of smoke. Caribbean culture has been integrated into worldwide pop culture largely because of the music. But there's been an ongoing controversy about the value of authentic reggae music. From as far back as the days of Bob Marley, who was first accepted by fans outside of Jamaican shores, and Lee Scratch Perry, whose music pushed the boundaries of the genre into non-existence. Dancehall fusion artist Honorable has indeed found that adding other influences to his reggae has propelled his success.
Reggae music is such a music still predominant that people from every corners still, you understand, gravitate to it. But when you give them in their genre, it's easier for them to digest it. That's why you have one song remixed 20 different ways.
Kevin Little, a native of the island of St. Vincent, whose song Turn Me On reached top 10 status on pop charts around the world, agrees that fusing Caribbean music with other genres gives it a broader appeal. While authentic dialects could be considered part of our charm, Kevin offers insight into some of the elements that work and that don't work to give our music wings.
A lot of the times when we stick to our colloquial culture in the way that we speak, it's kind of not understandable to the whole world. But if you check, for example, Bunji's song, that did well because it had international formats in it that made it appeal to the rest of the world.
Veranda talk in the Caribbean community is that white people are taking over our music. Hearing that and then hearing from this particular group of entertainers put an ironic and pretty amusing spin on that line of argument. The one white artist we spoke to was the one who was most committed to embracing reggae in its most authentic form.
From the King Tubby's time, King Jammy's, you know, that is my sound. Rubber dub style, rock steady. When I say roots reggae, I say roots reggae. How can I sell 2 million copies singing about His Imperial Majesty King Selassie? Because Babylon is fighting me.
On the other hand, not necessarily receiving the support they would have liked from their own communities, Kevin and Rebel have embraced and integrated genres from outside the Caribbean and gained a world of fans in the process.
Me, as an artist now, try to fuse different music in a my fashion.
A lot of soca songs have crossed over, and Turn Me On in itself was a little more leaning towards dancehall also and R&B, pop, but still it was soca.
A common thread among these native Caribbean artists who have found international acclaim is a degree of resentment from folks in their home communities. However, in no instance does this resentment seem to have slowed them down.
To be accepted by your own peers or your people, it was a struggle for me. I'm still a struggle. But here, it always have to be a victory.
In the entertainment industry in Trinidad, you as an individual coming into their sphere from a different island, it's a whole different ball game. You know, you're gonna get that rivalry. Everywhere you go in the world, you have this rivalry. It's a little more hurtful because it's smaller communities. If you as an individual do something and somebody doesn't say something bad, then what you did didn't really make nothing happen. You hear me?
Even the multi-platinum selling Shaggy has been served his share of haterade from his home community.
I have proven that I can do what they do. See, have they done what I do? Every man who criticizes me and burn me, I thank them because they are the fuel to my fire.
So, from the point of view of people who have seen what the wider world has to offer, what's wrong with outsiders taking a piece of our pie?
I am not going to say that anybody is hijacking reggae. I feel like anyone that is non-Jamaican that perform our music is actually helping it, because I feel like they're introducing it to their audience that doesn't know it.
The world is global. It's been global from day one. But people like the animosity, people like to push we create it and whatever. All right, you create reggae. Who create music? Allow everybody to live their life and to do what they do. Because music is for us to spread it, not to keep it in your house for yourself. You have to spread it. No, enjoy it.
They all agree that if an artist wants to break big, he or she has to keep an open mind to the music. Don't limit yourself or where you want to reach fans.
The landscape out there where the world is concerned and where music is concerned is so broad.
America is great, but America is one of the toughest markets in the world. There's other markets in the world who would love you the same way and spend the same amount of money on you to do your work.
So if we want to recapture this market that should be ours, what are some of the biggest challenges to moving a bigger chunk of our music industry beyond Caribbean shores?
For want of a better word, all the older heads seem to think that if you're not a doctor, if you're not a lawyer, if you're not an engineer, you are basically a Billy Button walking for nothing. And they don't really nurture the entertainment industry.
We are partially to be blamed. We need to organize the thing. We need to stop short sell the business and hustle out the business. You understand? And it name business. It not name hustling. It's a business.
Special consideration provided by the VP Records Miami store. For extended interviews with the artists, visit thecaribbeandiaspora.tv. When we come back, in the diaspora perspective, crabs in a barrel, why we sometimes choose to keep each other down instead of helping each other up. There's nothing that reminds us more of home than the tantalizing tastes, the warm, inviting aromas of Jamaican food. From ackee and saltfish to homemade jerk chicken. Have it all at your fingertips with the Jamaican Recipes app. 110 authentic Jamaican recipes to bring a little taste of home into your home. Search Jamaican Recipes to download the Jamaican Recipes app for iPhone or Android. The Jamaican Recipes app, a taste of home at your fingertips. I'd never actually seen real live crabs in a barrel until a few months ago. It was the most curious thing. As with any trapped animal, they were all clamoring to escape the container. But when one seemed close to victory, another would grab onto it, dragging the successful one down rather than dragging himself up. Now, I'm sure that the poor crabs were just acting on instinct, but when we the people do the same, consciously drag others down and then say that if they couldn't deal with the heat, they didn't deserve the success, what are we actually saying about ourselves? There are a few common culprits behind this crab in a barrel syndrome. Culprit number 1. We feel trapped, so we have to drag others down because our misery loves company. I hate my job, I hate my wife. How she get that man on me hotter than she? My company has been struggling for 5 years and this guy just walks in and gets all the business. I chew him brown. Yes, there are prevailing conditions that stare some opportunities in our community at large, including color and class privilege. But why do we often resign ourselves to not being able to do something because we aren't rich enough or light enough or our ear not tall enough? In the entertainment industry, we see it in examples like Kevin Little and Honorable. They have both been on the receiving end of resentment for gaining acclaim outside of the islands when some of their own people don't necessarily respect what they do. In our minds, they aren't good enough for us, so they're peddling their substandard content to the ignorant foreigners who don't know any better. Do we never stop to think if the foreigners are gravitating to them, maybe they're actually doing something right? They aren't light-skinned and neither of them grew up wealthy. It's almost like we've decided because they were once one of us, the working class, dark-skinned, Caribbean-born plebeians, that they aren't good enough. Or, if they're good enough to receive international acclaim, why aren't I? I can't physically do anything to them because then other people will think I'm bad mind. So instead, I'll underrate their work because it's clearly not authentic. I'll call them sellouts and say that they really don't represent our culture because they don't do anything for home. Now, I know for a fact that little to none of that kind of criticism is valid in the case of these two characters. But my question to you is, if you were being constantly criticized and dumped upon by the people at your home, how motivated would you be to help them? Culprit number 2. We believe that everyone doesn't deserve our support in reaching and maintaining their success. There's this notion that some people deserve our support and others don't. White people are white, so they already have a leg up. We don't need to support them. But a black man from humble beginnings whose craft I actually respect, he is worthy. That may sound reasonable on its face because most of us are judgmental and believe it's okay to persecute people because we don't have what they have, crab in a barrel. But as a child, neither my grandmother nor my church told me that Jesus loved one person more than another because of his or her skin color. Culprit number 3. We don't believe that we can collectively escape whatever circumstance we feel trapped in, so we resort to unsavory means to make sure others can't escape the circumstance individually. If we look at the crabs again, it looks like they all want to get out. Wouldn't it be nice if they could all escape together? Wouldn't it be nice if we could all rise above our challenges together? Why can't we? Even before I moved to the US, I'd hear on TV how the man was holding down black people and poor people. I've always been curious to know who this man is. The older I get, the more I believe that he's an apparition, much like Jiminy Cricket, that appears on insecure people's shoulders to convince them that they can't do anything to affect their own success. I believe that anyone who believes they can with full conviction and who never wavers from their mission can do anything they set their mind to. I also believe that we move forward stronger together and that a focused and dedicated team will always do better than an individual, no matter how strong that person. I wish as a culture that each time we'd start moving forward, we would try to do it together. There are so many kings in our castles. Everyone who is a leader wants to be the boss. I'm a leader, but I want to be the boss of my section in the big organization, not the boss of the small organization with a reach of me, you, and him. We can do so much more as a team, as a group, with a support system than we can alone. So let's stop being crabs in a barrel. Let's stop pulling each other down and start pushing and helping each other up. Then start working to pull up those who helped us to get to where we are. After all, there's no crab in team. Next time on our show, a conversation with the first elected female lieutenant governor of the state of Florida, Trinidadian-born Jennifer Carroll, an exotic vegetarian butterbean ragu, and thoughts on the changing role of women in Caribbean culture. As always, we want to hear your feedback. Find us online at thecaribbeandiaspora.tv or using the hashtag #IamCaribbean. Thanks for watching. I'm Calibe Thompson, and we'll see you next time on the Caribbean Diaspora Weekly, South Florida edition. The Caribbean Diaspora Weekly South Florida edition is presented by CaribCast, live Caribbean TV anywhere, and by Jamaicans.com.